I'm Barnaby Brown. It's the 14th of May 2018 and I'm playing a Pydna Aulos. The original was found in 1996 in northern Greece, in the ancient Macedonian port of Pydna. And this reproduction was made by Robin Howell. I received it last year, and it's made from Scottish deer bone, beautifully cleaned by Sylvia Stevens, sent to Toronto, and it's rediscovering how to work with deer bone. Let's say there are lots of questions. It was frozen. Getting deer bone that was alive on the hills of Scotland is not so easy, so it went into the freezer, and I think that might be the reason we've got a few cracks. But it's working beautifully. I'm very happy with it, and I'm playing reeds made by Christos Tertzes, and they were in fact just made last week in Tarquinia at the first Euterpe double pipe school. It's a huge satisfaction that the European Music Archaeology Project has yielded quite so much progress in just 5 years. So we're coming towards the end of the project now, and in this video I'm going to practice and proofread a score that I've been working on and off for a year, thanks to Armand Dangour at the University of Oxford. It's his reconstruction of the Euripides Orestes chorus, and it survives in a very, very precious little piece of papyrus, and I have circled here the instrumental notation that interrupts the chorus, which is the antistrophe. It's very strange that we have two types of ancient Greek notation, vocal and instrumental, and in this papyrus you have the Greek words with the vocal notation above, and then interrupting the words some instrumental notation. So in my score, these little fragments of instrumental notation are the red notes that I've marked here and here and here, and in fact there should just be one there, and there should be two here, because just towards the end there are in fact two instrumental symbols, and we can't be sure. This is very experimental, and what I've done with this aulos, which comes, it's dated to between 400 and 350 BC, but that's the date of burial. So it would certainly have been being played at the time Euripides wrote the Orestes. So it's from exactly the right period, the right part of the world, or at least the right culture. And one of my excitements was discovering that in fact the notation in the papyrus, Stefan Hagel has interpreted, I think very compellingly, what the original pitch would have been. And this instrument produces that pitch bang on, which is a modern F sharp, wow, a quarter tone between an F and an F sharp. So let's see. I'm going to turn the stand round and just practice my aulos part, because I've not quite memorized it. I'm preparing for a performance with Steph Connor next week in Cyprus, and so this is me finalizing the score and making sure I can play it. I have covered the bottom hole of each pipe in order to play all the pitches that are in the papyrus, and I think it's highly likely that the piper who owned this original instrument round about 400 BC would have sometimes opened them and sometimes covered them in order to change harmonia. And one of the first things to say about this instrument is that I, having spent a year, well, in fact, almost 2 years trying to figure it out, it's not tuned to be, well, no instrument can be tuned to produce pure intervals. You've got to make some sort of compromise. Either you're going to have some fourths and fifths, or you're going to have some thirds. So what I'm doing is trying by ear to tune the intervals, whatever they are, fourth, fifth, major third, minor third, to get them pure. And I do that by very, very slightly adjusting the embouchure position. So if it's not bang in tune, I'm going to make some little adjustment with one or both pipes in order to bring it into tune. And to get the last fifth in tune, I definitely need to bring the high pipe a little bit further in. Because the tones on this instrument aren't the 200 cents that we would expect on a piano, and it doesn't really have semitones of 100 cents. In fact, all the intervals are more or less 171 cents, which is known by ethnomusicologists as an equiheptatonic scale. It's as if you took the white notes of the piano and ironed out the difference between the tones and the semitones. So all the intervals were the same. They're small tones. And that means that if I'm playing a tone, I have to stretch it bigger. And if I want to play a semitone, I have to compress it smaller. And that allows me to modulate. It's rather a beautiful system. At least I find that as I get to know the instrument, I'm becoming more of a fan than I thought I would be at the beginning. Mokton. Oh, I changed my mind here and I haven't learnt the new version yet. Non ponon. Okay, so there was just one bar that I needed to work on. Otherwise, it's mostly there. Yes, there are some intervals that need a lot of concentration to get them in tune. So I'm just going to do a little bit of slower work, focusing on that intonation. So I'm really having to squeeze that last fifth to get it in tune. And it's interesting, I find that with this big hand stretch, I need to press down with the fingers just a little bit more firmly in order to get it all to cover. And I don't like pressing because that gives me tension in the thumbs. One of the exercises that I found helpful on this instrument is this. So there's a fourth, and going down to the major third below, which clashes with the fourth below, and then in the best ancient Greek music, they had these quarter tones, which would split the difference between the perfect fourth and the major third. So I'll try and do that now, because it creates wonderful sort of interference beats, which, when you've got two pipes kind of vibrating in your mouth, is a glorious effect. But of course, in order to relish those interference beats to the maximum, you need to be very good at hitting the pure intervals and getting them absolutely still. So that's my task, practicing this instrument. I haven't dared, I'm not good enough yet, to put those enharmonic intervals into my Aulos accompaniment. So instead of making it a tetrachordal accompaniment, it's actually a trichordal accompaniment, in the sense that for each tetrachord I'm omitting the quarter tone. The singers have the hard work, because in the notation on the papyrus fragment there are those quarter tones. So just as a beginner Aulos player, I'm leaving that to the singers and trying to provide a solid foundation with a trichord. And as with all things that you start from scratch, this instrument has an awful lot more to teach us. I'm looking forward to what new things I discover, and others hopefully discover in the years to come.